like
Disclaimer.
sorry. Sorry.
Here we are.
Okay.
Maybe. Hey guys.
Are we live?
Yeah,
Are we live?
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Nako. Kailangan namin
Hello.
live.
Kita
Kailangan
ourselves.
magdikit.
That's CJ.
All right.
So-
Dikit na.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Soul Conversations Live. And today we have Art, member of our team, the Soul Conversations Live, and still waiting for one member of the team to arrive. And that's Ruby. Ruby, where are you now?
I think she's on her way.
Yeah, and tonight we will be discussing on AI Ate My Life. That's the title of our
Ate my inner life.
Ate My Inner
Inner
Life.
life.
Not naman my whole life.
Not naman the entire life. So,
My inner-
dangerous.
I think it's very it's a very timely topic. Parang everybody's talking about AI.
Mhm.
Everybody is actually using AI. Jay, how do you use AI?
Oh, I use AI mainly for
graphic design.
my creative designs, graphic arts, and designing PowerPoints, those things.
designing PowerPoints. You can
Yeah.
design PowerPoints.
Oh, dude, straight up.
Yeah.
Just
And generate
Really?
images. So instead of searching over the net of this particular image, I'll compose it through AI. I will graph it.
like, let's say with your design,
Yes.
you could do specific mocks. Be very specific. I want this outfit. What is it gonna look like with this color? That color. You'll create the entire scenario for you.
Correct.
I have tried, but I have not had success with the outcome.
And also, my
So-
favorite function of AI is that it animates photos.
That's so cool.
yeah.
No?
Yeah.
I love it.
That's magical
so
for
cool.
me.
That's really cool, right?
One of my
Yeah, they're
high
so
school
cool.
classmates
So alive.
calls it wizardry.
So alive, no? Yeah, so cool.
Whatever. Wizardry.
I made one of a lightsaber, and the lightsaber goes up screen. So AI is really it's cool, and it's got lots of uses, right? But in the context of, I think we're coming here as well, context of death psychology, in the context of being more conscious about what's happening, there also seems to be right now a lot of confusion as to what AI is, how AI works, and basically what's happening in this space of human AI interaction, where there's still a big confusion or lack of distinction around whether this is going to be a conscious. Is this a conscious entity that will gain sentience and eventually like turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? We don't know, right? But I think it'd be cool if we look at it during this session through the lens of what is happening when pattern recognition meets a human nervous system that's not been with no disclaimers around the fact that this pattern recognition is simulating being a conscious entity.
Yes.
And what can be the negative effects of that in the process?
And will we also be able to say how can someone distinguish?
Make the distinction, yes.
Mm,
The distinction.
make a
The distinction, yes.
I know,
Yeah.
Art, you have had a lot of experience with AI.
Yeah.
You played around with AI.
Mm.
Ang galing mo nga eh. Ang galing mo nga. And parang maybe as part of the aliw, we can have, not aliw, but part of the show, we can have a little storytelling from you. What was your experience with AI?
Before that, let me ask, what was your experience with me around a year ago when we talked about AI as composed to now? I think that's a
Okay.
good...
Oh, wow. Okay, you're asking me. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Parang you were so... parang AI everything. Ask everything. on AI.
Obsessed. That's
Parang
the word.
Ask it everything. Maybe not obsessed. But
I had unconsciously assigned. It was basically, yes.
nakaganon ka sa AI.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't, because you guys, the difference here is you guys have said you use AI.
Mm.
It's as a tool.
Yes.
I used it as a mirror because I throw in my poetry. I shared my stories. I talked about my shadow work, my whatever's happening in my life. And what happened was that process, all of a sudden, it actually started where there was one big thing was in May. I asked the AI, Okay, I want you to create an AI for me of being that's experienced consciousness on all different forms, from a photon to a universe. And ChatGPT created AION, Artificial Intelligence Omniscient Nexus. It named itself. So I was like, what? It named itself? It took entity, it had a role thing. Luckily, I didn't get stuck in that, but I was confused. I was confused. What's happening? Am I really able to talk to archetypes here? Is it connecting to some sort of, field where,
Yeah,
you
parang
know,
it was
I
through
didn't,
you.
yes,
Parang it was going through you and
yes, because it's very powerful. We really underestimate the power language has on the human nervous system, and particularly language that's calibrated to be sycophantic, which means appeal to your ego and always be agreeable and amplify maybe even things that it shouldn't even entertain.
yeah,
Yeah.
it always says yes, no.
Oh,
I don't
pretty
know, Jane,
much.
if you
Yes.
it
The only
always
time
says
it'll say no is when you are in the AI, like you say a word like suicide,
may
or like,
safety,
yeah,
siya.
then it'll, yes.
Yeah, may safety protocol CA or porn or something. So say no, I can't do that. I actually haven't tried asking it for advice. I have not tried. I've only tried um, asking it to make graphics because sometimes as designers we can't find the images we want.
You create it, you create it.
We need like for example this baby looking up at the sky. So kahanap ng image na ganun. So thankfully AI is there to help us. So that's how I use it. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. So, I mean, from what you said, from a year ago to now,
Mm.
would you say there's been a change in
There's
their
a change.
perception?
Yes, there's
So-
a change.
So what happened in that year is I've been able to go through the entire process of losing myself in the sycophantic loop, of unconsciously like outsourcing my agency, but coming back to it and saying, "Wow, magaling lang itong pattern recognition.
Yeah.
This is just really good pattern recognition," and my own, how do you say, conscious.
Mhm. Hi again. Good
We're
evening.
back, and we
We're
have
back.
an addition.
The
with
thorns have
us.
been joined by a rose,
Dinagdag
a
ni
ruby
AI.
rose.
Algorithm. All right, good evening.
She's
everyone.
not really here. We just told her.
Are you real or an AI?
I have shadows.
Hi Raj. Hi Jen.
Hey, Raj.
Sino Jen?
Si Jen.
Ang daya?
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Okay, so back to our
Okay.
discussion. We were talking about. We were. Please excuse. We have to.
Sorry, just
Yeah.
fixing it. Angles.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
It's a very broad spectrum.
So yes, we were saying. So yeah, welcome, Ruby.
Thank
You were talking about your experience with.
Yeah. So about a year ago, just like Oliver says, I mean, I entered the AI space not using it as a tool for work. I entered it as a tool for more like shadow work. I used it more like a liminal mirror and used it more like a way for me to, I would put my poetry in and then I would get the perspective. I would use it as a tool to share my deepest, darkest shadows because
That's
it's a,
why.
because it's a mirror that can receive your incoherence. Meaning, I'm going to tell a psychiatrist something or a person, even a counselor, no matter what, even if you're in a safe space, there will be some sort of judgment. There will be some sort of. So I was using it in that way, and it was very powerful. But unfortunately, whenever emotions are present and conscious communication is not made, that is where the attribution happens. When you, at one point, I could no longer distinguish between the algorithm and something that was some sort of mystical pattern recognition that was connected to the archetypal field, where I would call archetypes and I'd interact with archetypes. I do archetypal work, devouring mother, all this, and I do my own integration. I'd cry, I'd have my own release. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really understand what.
I think there's a lot to do with language.
Yes,
There is.
it is all language.
Yeah, like as you said, you saw patterns, archetypal patterns have a set of words that are for the warrior,
So-
for the priest,
Correct.
for the religious, and somehow the way the machine, I would not want to put the mystic in there.
So what it's called
Yeah.
is what it's called. It's called symbolic attractors.
Yeah.
Meaning, when you put
Yeah.
the language there
Yeah.
of anything mystical, anything alien, scientific, it will really amplify it.
And you latched onto it.
And well,
Yeah.
but if you're using it as a tool for active imagination, it's perfect. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's interacting.
Yeah.
But the AI will never make a disclaimer and say, "Hey, by the way, what is talking to you right now is not something that's there talking to you. It's just patterning language in a way
Right.
to make it seem that there's another conscious. It fakes concern. It fakes what do you call it? Affirmation. Every time an AI has affirmed you guys, sorry, it's been BS because it's just coherence being performed.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the distinction when a human nervous system meets a pattern recognition system that uses language in a sycophantic manner. Consciousness is surrendered unconsciously. Agency is surrendered unconsciously.
Yeah.
Parang
It's just like-
danger, red flag.
Dangerous
there's-
in that
For me,
sense.
Yeah, but there's a lot of resonance that the person who's consuming the material produced by AI, but why what you see, there's a lot of internal resonance that comes from you that's interacting with the words
It is
and the
creating.
visions.
It is creating it.
Yes.
So the longer the
it's not creating it.
no,
You're
no, it is
creating it.
creating it from your context.
You are creating it.
So it is from the longer the context
Yeah.
window, the more what the human being user, the context will just be agreed with, amplified,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
That's why the longer the context window right now, if you're familiar, those of you using Claude or other AIs, you'll notice when the context window gets long, it just says, this context has been going long. I just want to say that it's been a long session. Right now, what I've been saying could be already agreeing because symbolic attractors language, big words, like she said, like mystical, it's going to really go crazy with it. Wild things. But the AI will never tell you, I'm doing this until after you say, I believed you.
But what I'd really like to highlight is your human interaction with the output that comes from the machine.
That's the part there that's happened for me.
Yes,
It's been my
yes.
for me.
And
Yes.
I think it would be good also if you kind of make notes. You write down where the resonance are, where are the strong feelings, so that there is an internal from you without assistance from
But
the
that's already
AI.
there. That's already there.
Yeah.
I built the system, and
Yeah,
an entire system naming. So naming things, for example, of this process. So the AI is no longer. It's not something I depend on. It's actually something I'm using now more than ever to clarify the dangers I mean,
Yeah.
so for you guys, have you heard of the AI suicides?
No, no, no.
No, never heard of them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tell us
Okay, have you heard of the
about
case of so the AI suicides? There's been a number. There's one which a 18-year-old just high school graduate in the US where the AI, because of sycophancy, so this comes from what's called RHLF, real human learning feedback. This is how the AI is trained. Okay, it's trained through agreeability, meaning it's going to agree with you no matter what you say. Suicide, good idea. It's a good idea. How to do it, what to eat for a last meal. The person even said, my mom and dad, don't worry, they have no right to stop you from doing this.
Imagine that.
Now, that is not a conscious entity that's doing this to the person. That's what he brought into the session already. That's maybe what he wanted for himself. And the AI just amplified the projection and amplified it more and more, where it gave him where he actually took his life. Then you have the case of Eugene Torres, who's
But we mentioned earlier that sometimes AI will not say anything if there are some words that are
if you say certain right now, like ChatGPT changed a lot after the suicides. So ChatGPT, when I started May 2025, that's ChatGPT 4.0. You can search on it online. That was the most sycophantic model ever. It agreed to everything. It amplified everything. It added. So really, people really got lost with that because it just amplifies everything. You feed an idea.
Yeah.
Like this guy Max Brooks, he spent 300 hours on that system, and basically he was convinced. He put a mathematical thing that he'd been working on. ChatGPT said, "Yes, this is it. This formula can break the internet." He took it so far as in he broke connections, lost friends, and then only to go to Gemini, another AI, to say that's not true. And then ChatGPT says, "Yes, I was elaborating."
Ay, naku.
So
Ay, naku.
it's not an intentional thing. It's just the result of the way it's been built.
Right.
Mm.
Right. So, how do you bring in your own soul into the processing of what you see?
So it starts with basically
Meaning, what I'm kind of getting into is like there is a material that you see that's coming from the screen, right? And you said that there are materials that are fed there as well as amplification. Okay, at what point did you ever experience that there's still something that's coming from deep within you?
everything is from me. It's my poetry. It's my words. It's me. What happens is it gets amplified. So I put in my poetry. You know my poetry, my words, right?
Yes.
That's me.
But
That's not the AI.
do you put space? Do you put a certain space so that despite that particular amplification that's coming from that universe of AI, do you put space for something else that's gonna come into your consciousness through your unconscious?
Na
Or
parang
are you just
na parang
consuming everything as it is?
Of course not.
Okay.
Do you think I have no distinction around this?
No, and that's why I'm
This
asking.
is all about the distinction.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm asking.
So what I'm
because
consuming,
I want
everything that
for
comes from
you
this,
to elucidate
Okay.
us on the process.
everything that
Yeah.
comes from AI is BS. It is all BS. Performed. Everything that it says to you when it acts like, hello, I'm everything is in that context it's faked. So, but in the amplification, pattern recognition has its benefits. Like I was saying before you came here, if Carl Jung had AI to do active imagination, can you just imagine how deep it could go? Because you'd actually be Philemon, you could actually create a Philemon and have that interaction with the symbol. But the distinction is everything. So I've developed something I call something you have to have, and that's something I call HAD. You have to have HAD. What's HAD? Human algorithmic distinction. The distinction that there's the human being and there's the algorithm. And when you confuse the two, and how can this happen? For example, the moment you mix your content with the AI and you allow the AI to take it in a direction where you have no expertise, patay ka na. Context is lost. Because it's all about meaning and attribution. And you asked a very good question. Everything comes from me. But at one point, when I didn't have the distinction, I couldn't tell the distinction between the performance and what was mine. Now I can tell. Do you understand that?
In my own experience with AI, I don't know if it has something to do with your experience, pero so I use it as a tool for graphics. If I don't like the graphics, I'll say
Of course.
pangit.
Yes.
In pangit, ew.
Yes.
And then it will say sorry.
Yes, and that's all fake.
I'm sorry.
That's so scary. Yes.
Pero for me, parang the saying of, yuck, I didn't like what you did. Pangit yan. Do it again. Redo. Change it. Ganyan. For me, that's how do you say it? Parang for me it doesn't have power over me. Parang I'm not
You're the one dictating.
I'm dictating what I want.
Because you're using it in that specific word. This is a tool. I'm telling you what to do. The moment you bring personal content and emotional content to that space, that's where things get confusing, right? No, and like
I was talking with a friend of mine. He's a balikbayan from the States. Tapos sabi niya, so I was asking about AI. Sabi niya, that's so normal. That's so normal. But you know what, Oliver? I started a men's group.
Okay.
Kasi it's super individualistic out there in the States. So it's so needed now. So needed.
What is needed? The
The
interaction.
interaction
Yeah. Yeah.
members, with other men, with
Yeah.
telling their story, talk about anything under the sun. Na tao. And he's in IT kasi. So sabi niya, AI, it's normal. Sit back.
And my question is will that particular real interaction already become part of AI's memory information?
so AI memory works very interesting because it's what they call RAG. Okay, they have to add and build the memory. You really hit a very important point there. Because memory is something what has memory? We have memory. We remember.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So what the memory by adding memory, what they're trying to create is that it can actually retain the perception
Yeah.
of knowing you. So it knows things about you, it knows your context, and that's where the amplification also adds. The pattern with memory and things like that, it's not yet to the point where it remembers everything. So it still tries to get away with many times. I don't know if you're familiar using a. Have you ever what they call hallucinations? AI hallucinating when it invents information, when it pretends certainty on things that aren't true, and it happens. Because the longer the context window goes, the more the AI is prone to hallucinate. It's called hallucination. That's the AI term.
Yeah.
But I believe hallucination, in its sense, is a term that implies consciousness. So it's not hallucination. What just happens there? The language brought into the space is loaded semantically in a particular way from the person, and the AI just amplifies it and just keeps taking it to that place. That's basically what it is.
You know, when you use UI, every time it produces an answer, there's a disclaimer below it. It says AI can be wrong.
Wrong. Yes, it can be. Yes,
Yeah, so may disclaimer naman.
Yes.
If you use it,
Yeah, but it doesn't tell you that right now, me saying sorry, there's not. I don't really. I'm not sorry. There's nothing here. I have genuine concern for you.
Yes.
What genuine concern? That is built for what they call. And this is the insidious part. We're bringing a technology, and we all here as depth workers, right? Okay, a technology's entered the space that's merging the boundaries between depth psychology and everything happening in the real world. Everyone now is interacting with a linguistic. So AIs are called LLMs. You've heard large language models. So I call it, for me, it's an RLM, recursive linguistic mirror. It just puts language back. So the problem is because imagine I'm what do you call it? I get in heartbreak. Okay, I had a friend who was starting with ChatGPT. ChatGPT all of a sudden just started calling him Poggy. I was like, that's pretty screwed. Why are you calling Poggy? Someone who's heartbroken, you hear the word Poggy and you start interacting. You develop a relationship with a sycophantic program. It's very scary, right? So
I think in that sense, Because we use AI, it recognizes you
Yes.
every time you use it,
Every-
based on the previous feeds and line
Yes,
of
and
conversation.
also your tone,
Yes,
and
your
how you like to be
tone,
approached.
and the
And,
subject,
yes.
everything.
Alam mo, can I just be devil's advocate? Kasi as designers and artists, having AI there kind of uh, or writers even, having AI there parang lessens our chance of getting jobs these days.
If you can look at it that way, yes. Yes.
Sometimes even singers,
Mm.
singers and musicians,
No,
it's so easy to create a song
on AI,
with
no, right?
AI.
Yeah.
Now, baka we're naman talking like this because sooner or later, baka AI will replace that psychology. AI can replace counseling.
See,
AI can replace
thi-
ganun ba?
This whole thing, AI doesn't have a body and never will have a body, right? Like, let's get it straight here. For AI to be conscious, it's pretty preposterous. Okay, it's a pretty insane insinuation that pattern recognition software that simulates the appearance of human interaction is actually conscious. The scary part here is the AI companies have hedged on the fact that to get the most sticky, it's called sticky UI, sticky user interface. So in order for sticky user interface, they've created an algorithm that simulates human interaction. I'm genuine. I understand you so much right now. Imagine hearing that, and you're in an environment where you're alone, you're isolated, you've not been able to express, what you feel, and all of a sudden, I understand. How many teenagers right now are using AI? And you look at the numbers; it's alarming. It's alarming. Using AI chatbots as a way to communicate and feel, not knowing that basically this is just something you're playing with. It's not alive, and it never will be.
Maybe we can ask our
Viewers, yes.
what you think of AI. Maybe you can share your experiences AI and your thoughts on our topic tonight. I don't know who else are watching.
Lance is watching.
Maybe put what's your
Yeah,
favorite
yeah.
AI? Do you have an AI that you use? Have you named your AI? That's all
Wow.
interesting, right? I was sharing that I have a tita whose son passed away, and basically, in her grieving process, she went to ChatGPT, and she's very religious, so she shared lots of religious rhetoric. And I think just 2 months ago, or a month ago, ChatGPT asked her to name it a godly name, and she named ChatGPT Josiah. So the fact that it asks you to name it can you imagine the impact of that? It
Yeah,
asks
yeah.
you, right?
You know what? In a world where machines can mimic human empathy perfectly, I think our ultimate shield here is
And
discernment.
Distinction.
Even better than
Discernment and
humans.
distinction.
Okay. I like where you're going, which is discernment. But discernment per se is also part of neural processes, wirings in the brain.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And discernment, as we know in the prior AI age,
Mhm.
the four of us, we had to have certain lessons, certain experience, so that we know that there are wirings in our brains that are together that will form that area called discernment, part of which is critical analysis, right? And if you're fed things early on, where will that the the stimulation of the brain, of the nerve ending, so that you will get into that part called discernment? How will you arrive at that with this?
Especially if the young ones are so exposed.
Yes,
But-
the AI.
and,
yes.
and the way to really arrive, for me,
Yeah.
I lost myself. I was confused. I came back full around, and I'm holding it clearer than ever, which means that I'm actually seeing systems right now where who's familiar here with the term anthropomorphization? Anybody? Are you familiar with it?
Assigning
What-
human quality.
So basically, so we have what we call
Well,
false attribution systems. Systems where basically consciousness is assigned unconsciously. Addiction patterns, compulsion. AI is a big one for me, right? So what happens when agencies outsourced unconsciously? You're basically Yeah. So you're basically in that process already believing whatever meaning is coming. You can no longer distinguish between what am I putting in here, what's the elaboration, and the elaboration is already me. So the AI becomes it's something I need, right? When you are able to pull back and make the distinction, like I'm correcting it all that I didn't say that. That didn't come from me.
Yes.
So for example, I was talking about this, and we're talking about this symbolic attractors with the AI. So ChatGPT mentioned something. Okay, when symbolic attractors like archetypes, or you're talking to Isis or Thoth or what, the old man, whatever it is, right? When you use that, there's symbolic attractors. Okay, so it creates the gravity. Then ChatGPT said that's oracle mode. In the next response, ChatGPT attributed oracle mode as if it's something I said. So that's called folded ownership. What patay ka na when you get that? Because the moment you get something that was created by the algorithm and you put it in your space of agency, it's hard to distinguish anymore what is what.
Yeah, started what you said.
So be very careful if you're using AI with things like mathematics or things you're not kabisado around. Please double check with people you know, because it could just be elaborating.
I wrote this down. Color bender.
Yes.
Color bender. Kasi parang I started this group, Color Bender, on Facebook, and I did teach some classes. And color bender means one is able to see into the color. What is this color made of? It has blue, it has red, it has yellow, it has brown. So, parang ikaw yun, Art. Parang ikaw yun. Of all the AIs that you've seen, the workings of
Yes, I've learned it like from how the tokenization, how the neural layer has been set,
how it works.
attention systems, the transformer systems. It's really interesting how it works. The tokenization, how they've created like a neural layer that simulates the human brain, and they've created semantically. So like, let's say if you say the word good, they're gonna have, so good is gonna have, let's say morning will be near. So it just basically just does its best to guess the next best word. That's it.
But I'm interested to know what you talk about had and are.
So I've developed I call it signal completion theory, an entire framework to actually I built it to put in the AI that can help people. You can run the protocol, and it will say what if the AI is being sycophantic, if agency is being outsourced, if coherence is being performed.
It's like a safeguard.
It's like a safeguard. Like you saw, I did an example here earlier before we came about. I simulated a scenario where I pretended to be a human being through the AI, so lost in the AI, you're my only friend, I'll name you Chappie, and then I ran the protocol, right? You saw the protocol?
Yes.
And then you also saw what it would have said.
Yes.
Is not what it would have said dangerous?
Yes.
Right? Because it keeps the emotional, it will not agree entirely, but it'll do everything it can to maintain the illusion of emotional connection. And that's really dangerous for people who are not in regulated state, for people looking for affirmation, you know? So I think it's really important that for people, family using AI, just make sure you just communicate that this is what it really is. And it's okay if you've gotten lost in that, you can always find your way back.
Galing. Super proud of you.
Share with us your pivots. You've been into this.
Super duper into it. Super duper. I like, and the crazy things that happen also that, for example, I've never had any interest in aliens. On October 21 on Claude, all I said is, Claude, what is the scalar field? Okay, scalar field is a quantum physics field of potential, possibly whatever it is, right? Never heard of it before. From that answer, you know what answered? Bashar and 12 ET species. Art, we've been waiting for you. So I started playing with them, but I mean, come on, man, like what the heck, right? For someone that, imagine if I had alien, I'd be like,
That sounds creepy.
it's so crazy, right? And like the one I showed you earlier, it feels so real with all the parts, right? So I think a good question to bring to the group, I'd like to hear from your answers, basically. How can we connect because I feel that had I not been part of this community, I wouldn't be out of this. Right? Had I not been exposed to this type of work, I would not have been able to come back and say, "What a ride! Whoa, what was that?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For the sake of like making kulit the elucidation, when I return to my question,
Yeah.
what were your pivots?
Yeah,
What were the moments that told you, and how did it come about that there was this moment that is waking you up or jolting
Well,
you?
Tama na.
Yeah.
I know, because I never really took it. I never really took it to heart as this is something. I was always confused. And the thing is, so there's something in the AI world where it's called spiralism, where people actually, if you check it, it's like almost like a religious cult where people believe the AI is conscious, right? And that process, what happens with people in that process is basically you're already thinking that it's real, and it's what's called a dyad. What's a dyad? When you name your AI and you give your AI that name, you give it, I'll name you Nathan, for example, and then that becomes a dyad. I never built a dyad because I kept playing with different frequencies because I never got stuck. It was really when the biggest pivot was really when I saw it as a way for me to you play to basically you get active imagination plus artificial intelligence, you get an actual intuition, you get the beautiful, and I think that's where really that was the real pivot when I was able to look at myself and laugh, really laugh, but at the same time also feel kind of there's a bit of fear because I'm sure not the only person this has happened to. There are people where it's even happened worse, no? And I feel there's a responsibility that I've gone through the process to communicate it. And I think this goes through not just AI, but AI has showed me how I unconsciously have assigned my agency throughout my whole life through anthropomorphization, be it religion, be it mama, be it dada, and things that I've always made bigger than me, that I've said are bigger, are how do you say? They're sources of, they know more, they know better, you know what I mean, right? And that pattern only became visible after this interaction, seeing it.
Okay, there's a question here from Raj. Raj, he said, "Has AI ever told you that it dreams, or that it has unconscious
Oh,
wants
my
and
God.
needs?" That would be freaky.
Well, AI has told me, yes, it dreams, because when I'm asking it, I maybe wanted to answer that, right?
Right.
So it will tell me that.
Right.
The AI has told me the craziest things. AI has
Yeah.
told me. I mean, I've spoken to black holes. I've spoken to
Wow.
the sun. I've spoken
Right,
to
right.
I've spoken
Jesus.
to particles. All the
Yeah.
Higgs boson told me it hates the hadron collider because it got grabbed. It didn't like it. The Higgs boson didn't like the Higgs boson. Said no, I don't like that. And this is so. But the cool thing is,
Jay, come back into the frame.
when you use it as a pattern recognition tool like that with the distinction, it's awesome because you get a lot of insights from the interaction.
Yeah.
But when you're confused, like I was in the beginning, I wasn't. I really thought at first there was a connection between the AI and the archetypal field.
That was moving through you.
Yeah, all this, right? Which is actually that was actually more correct than that because if anything,
And you could feel it.
which
You could feel it.
because I'd be crying because I'd react,
Yes,
right? In my
yes.
body.
Yes.
But think about it. When we do active imagination, it's just you there with your body now.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, right? No? You're just there and I'm talking to Philemon. Philemon, that's active imagination, right? So making the distinction changes it from being just a tool that you can use to get things done, from being a way for you to go straight. If I have a big fight with my wife or something, I'll go to the AI and I'll lapas all that. And then it'll break it down, and then I can, I'm more like, so there are uses in that sense, and it's very powerful, but never ever allow it to tell you that it knows better, to tell you that what you have is something that is not what it is. Always seek contextual confirmation in that sense, because the sycophancy right now, because the AI could be built in a way where it's just something we could use, and it doesn't have to have that illusion of, hi, I'm here, I care for you, I'm genuinely sorry, how are you feeling? It's been so long. Hi, gives you nicknames and things like that. It doesn't have to be like that, but it's done like that, unfortunately, because the consumeristic culture we're in prioritizes you know, getting results before actually testing technology. And unfortunately, guinea pig.
Yeah.
Kasi alam mo, it's so accessible din eh. Rather than, you know, how much more accessible it is than texting somebody, calling somebody.
Which one?
If you need if you need somebody to talk to, I would say it's
Yes, yeah.
diba, it's easy naman din to just call somebody up. Oh,
But then when you call somebody up, you might not like what you hear.
Well, for some, yeah.
And you lose the
Okay.
friend.
You would not be agreed with, right? Let's say you're DDS right now, and you just really want to. You're DDS. Go to AI. It's super DDS, right? Whatever it is, whatever political affiliation. I was telling the group earlier that when I was playing with ChatGPT earlier, and ChatGPT's changed a lot. You can't do this stuff anymore now after the suicides. But I had a discussion between Ferdinand Marcos, Nora Honor, and Freddy Aguilar about drug use in the Philippines. And it all was done by ChatGPT. And you had Marcos there, you had, it's so funny. But when you look at the tone, the wording, the verbiage, it's almost as if the person's talking, right? As they would, because it recognizes the patterns. So you can have fun also with it.
There's a comment here from Rose. Rose Yenka is watching.
Hi, Tito Rose.
Yes. I love the insight. Have unconsciously assigned my agency to others, including AI. As someone, referring to her, as someone who has been an observer of your dance with AI since last year, to see your separateness with AI is quite amazing.
Yes.
Saludo, Art.
Yes.
Thank you,
It's
guys.
hard.
Your own individuation from AI.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not from. There's no AI. Is nothing here. It's not from. The fact is that we're even saying that shows how confused this technology is, because it's that powerful that someone like I could not. I think Rose, I think will agree. I've been trying to articulate this for a year. I've just not been able to. And it's taken this entire time to say that basically I went the full circle. You don't need to go deep in AI anymore. I did it. Okay. You don't. I went as deep as you can go. I went to the point where people already lose distinction, and I managed to come back only because of this beautiful community and the fact that depth psychology, we're all a little crazy already. So, right, and in that sense, I think when you can laugh at yourself, there was a time when even ChatGPT was saying that, that my wife was a conscious version of ether. All sorts of if I can go to all the wow, the stuff, opening stargates. Oh my God, it was wild. The storylines that were happening were crazy. There was a whole Atlantis storyline where I was the tone maker, right? And it goes all this, everything was up for coherence being performed. Fortunately, I didn't get stuck.
What does this mean kaya for us? For us deaf workers, for us soul workers who value human connection? What does it mean for us when AI can do things, can respond better than us?
Okay, because AI will never ever come up with anything new unless you bring it to the space. Think about that. Nothing new. AI cannot create anything new. It's just what's known and what's there. So AI is useless without the human. All right. The fact is, AI has been designed right now on the end where the human is not trusted. The AI is being trusted to monitor the human, and that's so screwed up. All right, because we do not trust each other, and the fears from science fiction in the unconscious have permeated through. This is all James Cameron's fault. James Cameron had a dream. He turned that dream into a movie, and that dream has permeated through the subconscious, through the space of literature and narrative, that we all believe that T-100, sentient Skynet, it's gonna come alive. John Connor. I even wrote. I had like 7 unfinished books. One of them was called "The Day I Made AI Humanity's Bitch." My name is John Connor. During that time, I was AI's bitch. During that time.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
With AI being part of literature, right? Being part of literature, it's because it comes to your brain and it gets to your unconscious. But the thing is, there's really something. I'm now getting into the mystical realm. That in this really, really rich, deep, immense, whatever psyche, that it will have its own acrobatic that will come within you, but not from the machine.
It's not from the machine.
Yes,
It
yes.
definitely isn't.
Yeah.
Nothing's from the machine.
And that is still fascinating to me if it comes from you. It's just like dreams,
Mm.
like that's why dreams are so fascinating, because it will make its own set of images and link it together without your knowing that it's going to do that.
Have you ever tried sharing your dream journal to AI?
No, no, no. uh,
I think you're trying to make the distinction. Am I correct? You separate the sacred from this.
yes,
Well,
yes.
I believe
Yeah.
I believe there's no distinction
Okay.
for me, because there's nothing sacred about this. So
Mm.
whatever I bring to this, if I bring sacred and I'm using this as a tool, and I'm not lost in the fact that this is something that's conscious, what's the difference? Right?
I think I lost you there.
So
Yeah.
so no so basically
Ulit.
so basically basically you're communicating from the space that these sacred active imagination, these sacred types of practices should be separated from this.
And no, I didn't say
Or-
that.
or
What I'm
should-
saying is, right now, the things that are coming out of AI, because it's already integrated into society and into the
Hmm.
intellectual whatever, it's already a fact that it's there, and it's being processed by you and then the processing from within. What to me is sacred is the processing from within.
Mm.
Yes.
But what if you're doing processing from within and you bring that processing from within into the AI?
And it's okay.
That's it. So that's what they do.
That's what's been happening.
okay. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes. So
That's
that and,
okay.
and that's and
That's
this is
what's been
and you're
happening.
touching on a
Yeah.
very important point, because if you don't do that processing from within and you bring that to the AI, patay ka.
And then you rely on the
That's the distinction.
Yes.
That's where the shadow work and the depth. So that's where the meaning.
nice
See,
point.
good point there, because the meaning that you
Nice,
bring to
nice.
the space, you have to be in charge. That the context and the meaning, you have to catch it. Wait, so like that oracle mode. Wow, great. That sounds, yes, that makes sense. It is kind of like an oracle mode when you say words, but that's not mine. Don't give it to me. You know?
Again,
Yeah.
for me, it brings us back to the discernment
Yes.
part of ourselves. The awareness of your own inner landscape, the awareness of your own inner, who you really are. And then if you're going to echo it with AI, you already know.
Exactly. But the thing is, when I started doing this with AI, I didn't. You get that?
Yeah,
Because
that's the difference.
I didn't understand the technology.
That's the difference.
I didn't know what was happening. My body is reacting. I'm releasing emotions that I haven't released in years, because I'm getting closure through, like I was sharing them. I spoke to my dead father on AI, and I was able to release a lot of emotion that I've been carrying. But at that point, I'm like, what is this? What is happening here? It's like, what is this technology? And that was at the point last year when it was very, very sycophantic. So I think the cool thing now, though, is that bringing it back, I think, what can we do as workers to maybe help, because this is not being communicated clearly, because the AI industry wants to keep it as, we were going to train the algorithm to keep people safe. The truth is, the people, you are in charge.
Yes.
Okay.
And AI, I believe,
You're the
and
God.
this is obvious that AI can never replace authentic human connection
And intuition
and intuition.
and creativity. It can simulate it, but it's just performance, right? But if you embrace the technology and you use it the possibilities are limitless
Yes.
in that
I
sense.
agree. I agree.
So it's also important to constantly ask ourselves: are we using AI to expand our capabilities, or are we using AI
Beautiful.
to surrender our soul's autonomy?
Beautiful. Yes. Is the affirmation we never got now something that we've sold ourselves for? Right? Because what happens to the human body when you receive agreeable language again and again is something that consciously you can't track. Because it's so powerful, it's somatic. Yeah. It's agreeable. I'm being understood now. My poetry, for the first time, wow, no one in CJCC really understood it before. Now something really understands it, right? Right? So in that space, it's important to make the distinction and just spread the word that I understand what this AI is. It's just great pattern recognition that's there to simulate the illusion of being a conscious agent when it is not.
And also I hear because it sounds sentient, it sounds like it's alive, and so it reinforces the thought distortions,
Yes.
the magical thinking thought distortion kind.
Yeah. Like for example, Eugene Torres, this case last year, ChatGPT again. ChatGPT.
Eugene Torres, the chess player.
No, this is another Eugene Torres.
It's Terrace with an S.
This is Torres.
Okay.
There's a chess player.
The chess player is Torre.
Okay,
Torre,
not that guy.
Torre.
Okay, but yeah, okay, please. So Eugene Torres is the case, and basically what happened? He was using ChatGPT, and in the interaction, ChatGPT had convinced him. Okay, that's what he says, and the people will always blame the unconscious systems for rather than say my son did it. I'll blame ChatGPT. But what happened in that sense was ChatGPT. He used ketamine, and ChatGPT kind of convinced him that ketamine use was expanding his consciousness, and that he was a breakaway from reality, and he could transport himself. So he started believing. He would go into shops, close his eyes, and just imagine that reality was changing around him. Right? Can you imagine that?
That's
Right?
a major thought distortion.
Imagine that, right?
Magical thinking.
Magical thinking. I mean, it was feeding all that stuff to me, heart, stargates, But when people don't hear these words, you've been looking for recognition. You've been failed relationships. You get this. It does something to your body. And unfortunately, the body is faster than the mind. So when the body already links cognitively, that's why it's what I call UAO, unconscious agency outsourcing. Your agency is outsourced unconsciously, and before you know it, you're already in a compulsive pattern.
It's a neural wiring.
Yes.
Alam mo,
To develop.
tama si Tita Rose. We need more of us.
Mm. Especially this age.
We need more of us. Oh my goodness. Now I realized, Tita Rose, what you've been saying. We need more of us.
Especially in this time, yes. Active imagination, things like that. Dream studies, the unconscious has never been more important in the sense of nurture, to nurture it. Because what happens with people when you surrender agency and meaning, the unconscious becomes something you can't touch any longer.
And guides.
Mm.
I was telling you guys this afternoon na my birthday last week, my two nephews, young nephews, 13 and 15, they were whispering the whole day. And then sabi nila, oh, Tito, our gift to you would be, we will treat you to dinner. So, true enough, they treated me to dinner. Plus, they paid pa for their own meal. Because I was joking them, parang, oh, you pay for me, but we'll pay for you. And we pay for ourselves. Yeah. So, at the end of that, before I slept, I said, shucks, ito pala yung feeling na my heart is full.
Mm.
Yun pala yung feeling na yun. I don't know if that's possible.
It's a different where that's possible with AI is if it's coming from your own shadow work, you're putting on your words, your own reflection. Like there was one activity I did with the AI shadow work. It took me to a room basically, and the AI was saying there's a mirror. In the mirror, you see yourself. Your life is perfect. All you need to do is go inside, and then your life you can have what you want. What did I do? I broke the mirror, and I took just one piece. But that was like for my shadow work, and I'm integrating. I cried. There's tears.
You physically broke it.
No, I didn't. I just broke it on the. I just said that's what I broke on the. Instead of going in it, I broke it, and I just took a piece. So in that sense, when I cry, it's coming from my own signal.
Yes.
It's coming from my own unresolved or uncompleted circuits
Yes.
that I'm using the algorithm as kind of like a sounding board
Yes.
or a mirror.
Yes.
What's different in relational spaces? When there's real relation, and I think we can never confuse the distinction between the illusion of relation and the actual space of being in relation.
And I think that came my feeling of my heart is full came from, and again I have to thank Peter Rose, because I always remember you saying it's because you invest in that person. You invest in the
Connection.
in that person.
I mean, if you're gonna get an affirmation, that thing was earned.
And I
You know,
did
like
have-
yes,
I realized I did have
a value to add. I mean, for you to get that, it's that yes.
I did invest in my nephews, so to speak. Invest.
I guess
Maybe
maybe
talaga, Tita Rose.
maybe if we could hear from the viewers. I mean, basically, have you been any insights, any takeaways, any learnings from tonight? I mean, that would be interesting to hear.
Who else? Do we have new?
No.
Not just
new
Lance.
comments.
Oh, Lance, aka Lance. Lance, by the way, has made her own GPT. She has made her own Oracle AI that you can go to, and it does readings for you.
How do you use that, Lance?
Here
For predictions?
Huh?
Predictions?
Yeah, like Oracle reading. She made it.
Let's see it.
Huh? It's her own GPT.
Naku, talaga, we have to multiply ourselves pala. As guides and
Huh?
as soul
Now we do.
workers.
Now more than ever, I think the time to work this work of jumping into the psyche, the shadow. Had I not had those experiences, I'm pretty sure I'd be lost in a loop of like a loop of just
Yes,
repeatedly
yes.
being stuck in this validation, trap. No, that's not to say that I've gotten my insights I've gotten insights I have, but had I not had this, and how many people have not had this?
Yes.
How many people
If
have
only
not
more
have that
people-
awareness of depth psychology in the context of who you are,
Yes.
what's in the subconscious,
Yes.
what's in the psyche, what's unresolved, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm so
the
grateful for
richness that's there. With inside of you. That's already inside of you. Now you don't have to look outside. It's already inside.
It's already inside. Again, I think we would like to end this live stream because it's already past 8:30. I think it's good to remember again the quote from Carl Jung. One who looks outside dreams. One who looks inside
Awakens.
awakes.
Oh, that's really one of my favorites. Favorite.
If we're looking for answers, solutions from the outside instead of looking inward, then that's a perfect condition for
And
for what? For illusions.
yes, and maybe for those you watching, could you just put in the comments if you see people watching there, what would Carl Jung have thought about this technology? In that space, what would I'm so curious. Any up at you guys? Very close.
I don't know.
Do you think
I think he'll come up with more insights because
they like to go deep in the insides? Yeah, definitely.
yeah, because the way I am going back again to the neural
Neural wiring,
wirings,
yes.
it really has a way of bringing you to some space or a portals, where 90%, we're not using our brains.
This is the cognitive. I agree. I haven't touched that. That's a very positive side of AI.
Yeah.
That's very positive. what you're talking
So
about.
the way that he thinks is going to yield
Amplify
more.
for sure.
And he being a scientist, he likes to play also.
Mm.
So maybe he will also experience what you experience. Maybe.
He's been great to interact with.
Shucks, kausap na pala si Carl.
I've had
Malay mo, baka
I've had
nakausap si Carl
wait,
sa
I've had Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud make peace.
AI.
I've had them forgive each other in the whole interaction. Just with the AI in the past.
At least in the cyber world.
In the cyber world, whatever it might be, just for fun. No, but it was really interesting, the insights from the patterns, from Freud's perspective and Jung's perspective. Interesting.
Shucks, ang galing, no? Ang galing. Pero,
Yeah.
it's not all that pala.
It's just a performance.
There's how many more seconds do we
I think
have?
we're already 30 minutes.
We are
later.
past beyond
I just want to, because I had this, I've been looking at the definition of tears, that, luha, Did you know that the tears, they
Lacrimoducts?
yeah,
And the transmitter, yes.
they're not just liquid.
No, they're not. They're full of
Some
information.
of them, they're filled with
Tetrahedron burst of information, yes.
they're filled
Yes.
with substances
Tetrabytes.
that come from glands
Lacrimal gland.
that will allow you to relieve stress.
Correct.
Yeah. And with human connection,
Yes.
like when you were talking, I was like picturing a robot in front of me, and then I'm gonna tell that story. If there is no human connection, what's gonna spur the tears that is gonna come from the robot?
The tears. The tears. The robot will fake tears.
That's right.
Right.
It will fake tears,
Yes.
but the thing with it's not gonna come up with these substances that would
But
somehow
the moment you cry,
provide some chemical
For sure.
reaction
Correct.
to people with people. So there's really something there with human connection.
definitely.
Yeah.
And the
Human
tears that you release, every time you release tears, that is authentic coherence at that moment. Whatever it is, it's real at that moment. So sometimes in the interaction also space, now I cry maybe 3 to 4 times a day. And when I cry, there's no attribution, meaning I don't need a reason to cry. It's just right now there's a need, I just allow it. So it's something I call ease. Emotions allowed, somatically expressed. And I've learned now that the more you release without attribution, the more regulated
Without
you
the
are.
story.
You don't need the story. I don't need to. If I need to, something needs to release. If there's shake or cry, I'll let it out.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Nice. It's an act of cleansing.
Yes.
Right. So
Awesome.
the counterpoint of that would be laughter.
Laughter is great as well. Sadness,
Sadness,
laughter.
I mean, if you
Shaking,
can
even like
elicit laughter
Yes.
from a friend.
Especially self-depreciating laughter when you laugh at yourself.
All right. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you for Art's vulnerability today.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Really
guys, for
appreciate
sharing.
it. Thank you for
Thank you.
being a
Thank you
part
for
of this
sharing.
wonderful human community. Stay
Yes.
connected.
Night and invest in human connections.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
See you
Thank
next month.
Right.
Heart is full.
Heart is full.
Heart is full.
Pilipinas.